how does fixed income come about in retirement? Well, many ways, okay, but we're just going to stick to a few. First off, if you have a pension, and I'm going to be talking about pensions in tomorrow's episode, but a lot of pensions are fixed payments. Now, some pensions have a cost of living adjustment on them, but those cost of living adjustments rarely adjust in a major way. They tend to have a 3% cost of living adjustment, which is perfectly fine for most years. But if you have some hyperinflationary period, which many argue we might have a higher inflation period here in the near future, right? If you have a high inflation period, then it's not going to adjust enough. But some pensions have no adjustment for the cost of living. They're just, you're going to receive this much per month over this amount of time, or for the rest of your life in retirement. And in receiving that much, right, the costs of goods are just naturally going to go up over time. And if you are living on a fixed amount of money, you're going to have to figure out how to do that, which is why I wanted to talk about this particular topic in today's episode. But that's just one way that you can have a fixed income. Another way that you could have a fixed income is if you have an investment portfolio, and that investment portfolio has bonds in it that are creating income for you. Because bonds are known as fixed income securities. And what that means is you invest in a bond, and typically what happens is it will pay a fixed amount of interest every time it pays interest, typically semi-annually with most bonds, right? It will pay a fixed amount of interest every time it pays interest. Okay, so that's going to be a fixed income to the investor, to you as the investor. Okay, so if you're living off of bond income, then you are living off of a fixed amount of income. In a similar way, as with bonds, if you're investing in dividend-paying stocks or preferred stocks that pay dividends, right, then that is also another way that you can have a fixed income. Because if you're just going to receive whatever income is coming from a particular company's dividends, if that company does not grow their dividends over time, then you're just going to receive the same dividends. Now, a lot of companies do grow their dividends, and so this isn't true fixed income, but the rate at which they grow their dividends is not necessarily connected to the cost of living. So that can turn out to be an issue for you if you're living on dividend income and the growth of those dividends does not match up with the increases in the cost of living over time. Then also, a lot of people in retirement live off of annuities and income annuities. And annuities are just, they are these financial products, these actually life insurance products, right, where they will pay you systematic payouts over time. And those payouts are fixed. Those payouts are typically the exact same payment every single time, especially if we're talking from a fixed income point of view. Now, obviously, you can have annuities that are invested and that can grow for you, and that can adjust the amount of money that you take off of that annuity. But annuities were initially made to pay you a fixed amount over time. Right? They're going to pay you some fixed income in retirement, and that's going to be money that you can live off of. Okay, so living off of annuities can also be problematic, right? Then let's say you own rental properties, okay, and you have rents that you're bringing in off of those rental properties, and you want to live in retirement off of those rents. Well, if you aren't increasing those rents to keep up with the cost of living over time, which I think you absolutely should be doing that, right? The cost of rent should be adjusted for the cost of living, okay? But if you're not increasing rents over time, then that can be more of a fixed income for you. You're not going to make more and more return over time. And especially if you are investing in rental real estate where there is some type of rent control, then that can be problematic to you as well and can leave you in a fixed income type of situation. And then there are other things that people invest in that can provide fixed income. Certificates of deposit, we've talked about those before and how they pay a fixed rate of interest. Treasury inflation protected securities are offered by the government and they pay you an agreed upon rate. So they're just another type of treasury bond, but they are adjusted for inflation. So at least that's there. But there are all these different types of ways that you can be getting a fixed income. Right? And if you're still working, right, you may be making a fixed income. You may be looking around going, I haven't gotten a pay raise in years, or I haven't gotten, anything substantial in the way of a pay raise in a long time. Okay. And I haven't gotten an adjustment for the cost of living. If there's going to be inflation, then, how am I going to keep up? And you may see in your own life, in your own budget, that the cost of goods is rising to a point where it's getting tighter and tighter on your budget, to where you're either not purchasing things that you would have purchased before, or you are left with less at the end of the month when it comes down to it, okay?